for the Starbucks workers. A whopping 526 workers at 20 stores filed for elections with Workers United, including in the South in Birmingham, Alabama.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Last Week in Southern Labor is a segment that we do every week where we go over what happened last week in the labor movement in the South. We talked to we get the information from Jonah Furman from his newsletter, Who Gets the Bird. You can read it at whogetsthebird.substack.com, where he compiles this for basically the whole labor movement in the United States. It's like everything. It's really, really exhaustive, and lots of good information, so I recommend reading it. In new organizing, in one of the biggest single weeks for the Starbucks workers, a whopping 526 workers at 20 stores in 1 week filed for elections with Workers United, including in the South in Covington, Georgia, Durham, North Carolina, Birmingham, Alabama, and Newport News, Virginia. 105 drivers for Martin Brower, which handles McDonald's food supply chain, are organizing with Teamsters Local 391. 70 truck drivers for Cisco in Louisville, Kentucky, are unionizing with Teamsters Local 89. 35 workers for Packers Sanitation in Fort Worth, Texas, are organizing with UFCW Local 540. 14 workers who make talc for Magris Talc in Houston, Texas, are organizing with the Boilermakers. K-12 educators in Richmond, Virginia, are voting on whether or not to make the Richmond Education Association their official collective bargaining organization. The REA has been around since 1900, but now that the school board has legalized collective bargaining under a new state law, educators have to vote on whether REA should officially be handling negotiations. In Charlottesville, Virginia, teachers and support staff are one step behind Richmond, presenting a resolution with majority worker support to the school board to also legalize collective bargaining. In election wins and losses, 62 workers who manufacture plastics for Celanese in Cantonment, Florida, joined IBEW Local 733 in a 34-19 vote. 9 baristas at Three Brothers Coffee in Nashville, Tennessee, voted 5-2 to join UFCW Local 1995. 18 drivers for Lind Gas in Farmers Branch, Texas, decertified Teamster Local 745 in a 5-8 vote. And flight attendants with Avalo Airlines, a small low-cost carrier that operates out of a couple dozen airports, have officially unionized with AFA-CWA under the National Mediation Board. In strikes and bargaining, Starbucks workers in Raleigh, North Carolina held an action outside their store protesting the targeted firing of worker leaders. 300 nurses with the D.C. Nurses Association struck Howard University Hospital in D.C. for 24 hours. A couple weeks back, the Teamsters came close to striking the Red Cross across the country, but reached a tentative agreement. Apparently, that was just for the Teamsters, though, as the other unions are still putting out petitions for a fair contract. There's an interesting fight in small-town Georgetown, South Carolina, over the fate of the Liberty steel mill there. Steelworkers Local 7898 is hoping to avert a move by the city to permanently scale back the operation of the mill, which currently employs 60 or so workers, and to honor an agreement that would have increased the number of mill jobs to 150. Apparently, the fight goes back to the beginning of the pandemic, when the mill was forced to shut down and is now being contested as having been abandoned. And, Adam, the NSO had a win in Florida?
Yeah, that's right. We've covered on this show that at times unions can behave like bosses. It's disappointing whenever we see folks in our own movement treat their employees the way the bosses do. So we had a great win by the National Staff Organization and their Florida affiliate down in Collier County. The Collier County Education Association is an affiliate of NEA. It's a teachers union there. And they were just hit with a ULP that they're having to post at their office that was filed by the NSO. Basically, The education local there was mistreating the staff and union busting their own staff. So shout out to my former union, the NSO, and my brothers and sisters down there in Florida for fighting the good fight, and hopefully educating these educators that if you're going to be part of the labor movement, you need to act like it, and don't union bust your own employees.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.